Hello everyone and welcome back to another grounded video. In this video I'm going to be guiding you on how to prepare for the Hedge lab. Now if you haven't watched my previous video, I highly recommend watching that one first. I'll leave the link down in the description below. Now if you do find this video helpful, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you drop a comment down below and let me know if there's any tips you have for everyone, and also make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more content. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. In this video we're going to cover advanced water management, upgrading armor and weapons with the smithing table. We're going to go through some advanced combat tips and some other miscellaneous tips and tricks as well. So to get started, first thing we need to sort out our water management, because let's face it, we're all probably sick and tired of trying to find the dewdrops on the blades of grass like this one. So first of all, what we're going to do is craft a canteen. So to craft a canteen, what you need is some grub hides and crude rope. Now the grub hides you might not be familiar with, but what you need to do first of all is to craft yourself an acorn shovel. Now once you craft the acorn shovel, if you just look for dirt movement, they are your indication for grubs. You just want to hit them with your shovel and a grub will appear. Once you have destroyed the grub and harvested enough grub hides, you can craft the canteen. Now the canteen will allow you to collect 2 dewdrops, which is the first part of your water management. Just saves you having to collect more than one. For some reason my game seems to be a bit bugged and I've just got one floating there. So the next thing that we need to craft for the water management is this one here, which is the water container. Now the water container allows you to store water. Now unfortunately what you will have to do with the water container is you will have to collect your water in your canteen and then deposit it here in the container. So what you can do is when you've collected your dewdrops in your canteen, you can deposit here in your water collector. But we're going to go one step further with the water management and we are going to craft the dew collector right here. Now as you can see, the dew collector requires something that we probably haven't unlocked yet, and that is the silk rope. Now to get the silk rope, what we will need is a spinning wheel. So we're going to craft our spinning wheel just about here. Going to need some clay, some red ant parts and some acorn top. If you're unsure on how to get the clay, if you find bodies of water like this one here or any sort of like little puddles or whatever else in the backyard, this is another reason why you also need a shovel. You'll find puddles like this with clay deposits in them. You just use your shovel to harvest up your clay, and then when you have enough you can then build the spinning wheel. Now what we need for silk rope and to use with the spinning wheel is web fibers. So if we just open up the spinning wheel here, we have silk rope, which requires web fibers. We're just going to craft a few of these. Silk rope does take a while to craft, so what I do recommend doing, shoving a load of web fiber in your queue just before you go to sleep, and then by the time you wake up in the morning, all your silk ropes will be ready. To unlock the recipe for the dew collector, what you need to do is once the silk rope is done, you want to pop down to your research center and you want to analyze the silk rope. That will then unlock the recipe for the dew collector. So what we're going to do is craft this one. I'm just going to pop this just over here, and then when our silk rope is ready, we should be good to go. Now if you have your base set up where I have here, which in my opinion is one of the best locations, sort of early game, mid game and possibly into late game, now we've got a dandelion just here. Now what I like to do is I like to craft myself, especially when you are quite far away from sort of weed stems, if your base is placed quite far away, is to craft yourself a stem pallet. You can do this pretty easy with crude rope pebblets, dry grass chunks and sprigs. And then what I like to do is craft one right near my dandelion for my weed stems. And what you can do, a nice little trick, is if you press F to relocate, you can literally drag it wherever you want. So I want to put mine here for now, and as you can see I've got 3 stems there already. So once I chop this one down and I stock up my stem pallet, you will see how much of a bonus this can be and how much time it can actually save. Definitely need to try and find some food at some point because I'm pretty hungry as well. So if we grab these weed stems here and we put them in our stem pallet. Now I do recommend filling this up before you do what I'm going to do. What you can do is press F to relocate, and then you can drag this back to your base. Now one thing I do recommend when you're doing this is every now and then, when you can, you just want to stop and place it down and do it again, because if for whatever reason you do get attacked or anything like that, it will snap back to its last known location. So we're just going to watch out for this spider, and we're going to make a run for it. So as I said, it's best to try and every now and then place it back down. We're just going to pop it here so we haven't got too far to run if we do get attacked. I'm just going to head down here to our mushrooms. Oh, looks like there's a spider and ant having a fight over there. So as I said, what you can do is you can just relocate it back to your base, so all your weed stems are pretty close to where you are. This just saves you a lot of traveling time, as you know you can only carry 5 at a time unless you have the ant armor. So we're going to pick up a few of these, as we do need 6, and we're going to build our dew collector. So our silk rope should be fairly ready, not quite, a little bit more time. That's why I said I recommend sorting your silk rope out before you go to sleep. That way it will all be done ready for when you wake up. So we'll just put our last weed stem in there. We've got 4, so let's see how long we've got to wait. We've got a little bit longer to wait. Our final silk road is done, so we can take that now and we can craft our dew collector. Now this is your water management pretty much sorted. Over time you will see dew drops collected here in your dew collector. So you can just use your canteen, collect them, either drink them straight away or put them in your water collector. So in this part of the video we're going to talk more about combat, and more importantly we're going to learn how to perfect block. Now where I like to come to perfect the perfect block, which is similar to a parry in most other games, is to this old ant hill here, which can be located near the lamp near the oak tree. Now what I like to do, and the thing with these ants is, you just run into the ant hill here. If you just attack one ant, all the rest of them will come and attack you as well, and this will give you good experience in fighting multiple enemies, but also to practice your perfect block. Now perfect block is all about the timing. You need to just get used to when they attack and learn what their animations are. Then you need to block at the right time. Now it is very difficult to perfect the perfect block, which is why I say to come over here so you can practice. And you just want to block basically at the right time of their attack. As you can see, when you're normally blocking, you will take damage, but if you perfect block, you basically block and not take any damage at all. This is a key little mechanic to learn, especially when you get to fighting more powerful enemies. Now I do recommend collecting as many ant parts as you can, and you also want to explore the rest of the old anthill. The reason why you want to do this is because you will come across, eventually you will come across soldier ants, and what you will also find in here is a lot of quartzite. You want to collect as much quartzite as you want for the next part of the video. Here we go, we have a couple of soldier ants here. So this is where you want to really practice your perfect blocks, as they can deal massive amounts of damage. Now the soldier ant's weak spot is their eyes, so try and aim for the eyes as much as you can. So as you can see, they are quite difficult, but they're not too overpowering. As long as you are good with your blocking and you aim for their eyes, they are pretty simple to take down. And as I said, you will find lots of quartzite in here, so you want to make sure you harvest as much as that as possible. You'll also find lots of marble as well. Now this one's still here because it requires a level 2 hammer, so I have to come back after we've upgraded our weapons and armor, which is what we're going to cover next. We're going to talk about armor and weapon upgrades. But first of all, we're going to need the smithing station for that. Smithing station will need brittle quartzite shard, brittle marble shard, which you should have got from the old red anthill, and you need some crude rope and some sap. So we're going to get this crafted. Just going to pop this here, and then when we use the smithing station, we are allowed to upgrade our weapons and our armor. Now if you select one, say for instance we're going to select our axe for instance, though I do recommend selecting your hammer, just because you are probably using the hammer quite a bit, just because you have the stun effect. So as you can see, with a normal pebblet hammer, and the same with the axe and things like that, it requires a brittle whetstone, and if we go to our armor, it requires a brittle plating. Now if you go over to your workbench and you go into your material resources, you will see at the bottom you've got brittle whetstone and brittle plating. These are both made from the quartzite shard and the marble shards, so we're just going to craft all that we can of them, and now we have enough to upgrade our weapons and armor. So if we go back to here, another thing to note as well, that if they are low on durability, what you can do is you can upgrade them instead of repairing them if you have the resources, as this will also heal them as well. So we're going to upgrade that one to a level 1, and as you can see, it's fully healed as well. So we're going to do that with the rest of them. And as you can also notice that the more you upgrade, the more resources it requires. Now when you get on the likes of level 2, like I have here the red ant club, which I was lucky enough to find. As you can see, this requires 2 whetstone to get to level 1. Now what I like to do is I like to craft the Sprick Bow as well, just because this is very good early game for long range attacks. Now this does take a few extra resources to craft. So for the Sprick Bow you need gnat fuzz, crude rope and sprigs. What I think I'm going to do as well is I'm going to upgrade my red ant club. I use this quite a lot. I was lucky enough to find that, and it's a brilliant weapon early game. So there we are everyone, we've got our water supply sorted. Our food management isn't something we need to worry about too much. They are easy enough to get until you get a bit further in the game when you unlock different things like the cookery, but they require acid guns and that, which you can get from defeating spiders. But I do recommend completing the Hedge lab first, as there are lots of good resources in there. But now your water management is sorted, you've got access to upgrade your weapons, and you've upgraded your weapons and armor a little bit. You're now ready to head over to the Hedge lab and complete that as well. So if you did like this video and found it helpful, make sure you hit that like button. Also let me know down in the comments down below if there's any other tips that you have for everyone. I'll be eager to know everyone else's personal tips, and make sure you also hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more content. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video.